take me to Greenland then. How did this? I'm not going to try and pronounce the mountain because it's for a Scottish guy, it's not pronounceable.
Ingmikortilaq. It took me a long time, and then every time we do an interview, I'd be like, "Come on, just tell me again what it is."
just spark my memory.
Yeah, it took me ages to learn it.
So how did that? Well, firstly, how did it come about? But also, talk me through the climb. Talk me through the process of plotting that route. Talk me through the fact that there was ice all over that. From the videos I saw, I mean, it looked like stuff was just flaking off that mountain.
Yeah. Oh God, how did it come about? So I think it was actually a production company called Plimsoll, a guy called James. Oh, I'm spacing his last name now. James. Anyway, he's really amazing filmmaker, and he was basically just like, what cool thing could we do with Alex? What's Alex interested in? How about we combine rock climbing and a sort of um an expedition with rock climbing, but also have this like climate science element.
Mm.
So in the series, for those of you who haven't seen it, um, we actually do a kind of big journey across a small chunk of Greenland. And so we sort of walk along a glacier for a few days, and we like study the moulins, which are kind of these big like networks of crevasses, that can tell us quite a lot about how the glaciers are changing and things. So we like sort of looked at that, and then we like kept going. We climbed a cliff, and then we took these like rock samples from two different walls. So we climbed two different walls, Pool Wall and Ingmikortilaq, and both hadn't been climbed before. And then we also skied across an ice cap, dragging these like scientific equipment that was basically measuring like the depth and density of the ice layers of that ice cap. So yeah, it's really interesting because I don't know anything about climate science. I was just on the team as a climber, working with Alex. He invited me to come basically. We had other climbers on the team as well, Mikey Schaefer, Aldo Kane as well. I don't know
I
if
know Aldo.
he might be someone. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, thank you. He was on the expedition as well. Yeah, it was great. It was really cool. It was really, really interesting for me. It was just amazing to see that part of the world. Honestly, it was just like sort of if you think that Scotland feels wild, this was just like completely next level wilderness and like scale of everything. It's like a glacier would just be like, uh, you know, kilometers and kilometers apart, and just days walking and like sort of slowly watching the scenery change. So yeah, it was amazing to be in that place. And then the biggest challenge was in Ingmikortilaq, which is a huge sea cliff basically that comes out of a fjord. And basically all we had were these photos that someone had taken, like a local pilot or someone. And from these photos, we were like, oh yeah, it looks really good to climb. Like it looks really solid. But of course, you just can't get a sense of the scale. And then we got there, and it was just like, oh my God, this thing is really like falling down. And when you're in a big team trying to climb something, that's where a lot of the risk comes, is that you knock things off onto your teammates below. So yeah, it's just a lot to manage. And of course, we had people filming as well. And then we had helicopters dropping off different bits of equipment at different times, but then they couldn't collect stuff because of the weather. So like we were missing a lot of equipment. So yeah, it was really challenging. And then like Mikey decided it was too dangerous and he didn't want to do it. And then I had to sort of decide, okay, do I want to do this, or is this too dangerous? And Alex, of course, was totally chill about everything. It was just like, why don't you want to climb about it? So there was like sort of quite a bit of group dynamics going on. And in the end, me and Alex, sort of, like the whole team kind of established the first bit of it, and then me and Alex just did the rest of it on our own. And that was really cool. But it was quite interesting from a kind of psychological perspective, because I think at one point, we were chatting on the wall, and we sort of made this distinction of like, okay, well, Alex is thriving, like he's in his element, the challenge level is like just right for him. Whereas for me, I was managing.
Right.
So it was like, it wasn't that the challenge level was too high, like I could cope with it. but I was like almost tipping over into like, oh, this is too much, Um, so yeah, it was interesting. Um, but yeah, amazing experience.
And did he keep you level when you were on the wall? Because I can imagine when you're around someone like that with that, everything's going to be fine, relax, everything's okay. It kind of brings people back to earth, really. You know, I've got friends, one in particular, who's similar to that. Nothing is an issue. Everything's fine. And no matter what happens, it's like, don't worry about it. And oftentimes when I tell him my problems and he goes, it's fine, I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. It is chill.
Yeah, so sometimes it's really helpful, and like I think that some of the climbing I've done with Alex, he's kind of brought out the best in me. Um, some of my best climbing experiences have been with him. But also it can be annoying, and I think something that I didn't like on that trip was that in his constant kind of downplaying, I was actually a bit worried that we weren't managing the risk as best as we could,
Ah,
like, you know,
uh-huh.
so I was from my perspective, I was like, I just wanna, and if you watch the series, like we had to have a bit of a conversation where I was like, look, I'm gonna come on this wall with you, but like I want to know that you take this seriously
Yeah.
because I don't want to climb with someone who isn't taking it seriously, because it is dangerous. Like we need to accept that. And like I don't want to die. So
Mm.
like please can we all just like make good risk decisions? And he was like, "Yeah, sure," and he kind of agreed to that, and, it was a sort of, like, fruitful conversation. Um, but yeah, I think that kind of personality can go 2 ways because also some people wanna feel heard, and,
Mm.
sometimes it can feel like, you're kind of, like, invalidating someone's feelings if you're just like, it's safe," and you're like, "Well, it doesn't feel safe. I don't feel like you're hearing my concerns here," So I
Mhm.
think that, yeah, from a team dynamic perspective, I think, characters like Alex can help bring the whole team up and get the best out of everyone, but then at other times, I think that it can be really challenging to have characters like Alex as well, because at the end of the day, when you're working together, you need to come down to the risk tolerance of the person who's got the lowest risk tolerance on your team, basically.
Right.
Luckily, from like when we were climbing, it was just me and him, so he just kind of came down to my level, and that was a level that we were kind of all happy with. But, like, when we were in the bigger like, there was this moment actually that didn't make it onto the series, but we were, like, lost trying to get off this glacier, and, Alex just wanted to, like, cross this river, by, like, one person go across with a rope, kind of like creating a little bit of a Tyrolean situation.
Mhm.
Put a rope across this river, but, like, rivers like that are, like, notoriously dangerous, right? We've got massive rucksacks on. If someone slips, it's so easy to, like, be underwater, but there's always this sort of like on expeditions, it's like, we need to make a decision, we need to keep moving forward, like, time the more time you spend like doing nothing and not making any movement forward is also a risk factor, right? Because you end up having to sleep in a dangerous location or whatever, so and like the other people we were with were just like, no, we're not crossing this river. And Alex was just like, well, I'm gonna cross the river, and it's just like no, it doesn't work because like we're a
Mhm.
team and we have to do things together, So there was just like a lot of moments like that where like he was just so bummed out that like not everyone was like game to just do everything how he wanted to do it. So yeah, team dynamics like that are really interesting, and someone who's great at smoothing all of that out is Aldo,
Mm.
because he's just so charming and so personable, and he's a great leader basically. Yeah, I'm not sort of like the most experienced with those sorts of big expeditions. I've been on a few, but Aldo's been on probably hundreds at this point. So yeah, it's just interesting.
If you guys enjoyed that clip, please do me a huge favor before you go and head over to our Into the Mind podcast official page where we have the raw, uncut Into the Mind podcast, and hit that subscribe button. And the more subscribers we get, the more incredible guests we can get on the show. I really appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. And I'll see you all real soon.